Hi, I'm Dave Ingebretson. Leroy and I would like to welcome you to another edition of Fly Tying, the Angler's Art. And I hate to say it, but tonight we're all wet. Everything we tie is going to be a wet pattern. We're going to start out with one that is very humorous to those of us in the Pacific Northwest. We all know about Shamo the killer whale. People in other parts of the country may not. This is going to be a leech pattern tied out of chamois leather, and I love the guy who named it. He calls it Shamo the killer leech. And we're all just, we think it's hilarious. It may not be, but I like it. We're going to start out with Shamo the killer leech. Then we're going to tie a stonefly nymph developed by George Harvey, simply called the Harvey stonefly nymph. And we're going to finish up with another Northwest tire. Not another Northwest tire, because Harvey, of course, is from Pennsylvania, but we're going to finish up with the teeny nymph.
Jim Teeny.
Jim Teeny, yep.
All right, for Shamo, the killer leech, we'll start off with fluorescent red 6/0 tying thread. This fly will have black dumbbell eyes. The body material will be Canadian brown leech, and this is where the fly gets its name. This is tail. Cut it right from this chamois, colored it with black marker, and that's how the fly got its name.
And you want to be sure to use the real leather chamois.
Yes.
This stuff is stiff when it's dry, but when it's wet, it's going to darken the color, and it moves so well. I was telling you before we started that I cut the tails for my deer hair mice out of that. And even when the mouse is sitting still, that tail just moves, and this is going to be a great leech pattern.
All right, I'll tie on a set of dumbbell eyes. Figure 8 them. And then I do something a little different. I don't know if this makes any difference or not, but after I get several figure 8s, I go around the whole thing, staying just on top of the hook shank.
Oh, sure.
I think that binds everything.
That's a Boy Scout trick for lashing poles together.
Right?
It tightens it all down. Oh, yeah.
All right. Back to the rear we go. Now this is a 4X long hook. It's a size 8. And I'll take that little piece of chamois that we cut. What I've done is I've colored it on both sides with that marker.
Just a few spots.
Tapered it, yeah, just spots. I've tapered it where I can tie this section in, and hopefully it will stay on top of the hook. Get that bound in good.
And as I say, it looks kind of light colored now, but when it's wet, that chamois will darken up.
Now, this Canadian brown leech yarn, I guess it's still available. I've had this for quite a while. But
it's a mohair.
It's a mohair.
And you could
but it's multiple colored
That's
hair.
The neat part about it. But I think it is a little hard to come by, but if you just use a brown mohair.
Or a brown dubbing would also work.
Well, I think the thing is with the leech, it's going to give it some movement.
Yeah. Legs on this fly could also be an option. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it. I'm not worried about all this stuff. I'll pull a little bit of it out as I go, but I'll go back through and pick it out.
You want it to be shaggy.
Very shaggy. And the trouble with this leech yarn is you bind it down when you wrap, and you do have to go back through and pick it out.
And I've never had any of that, and I hear people telling about it. I never think about looking for it when I'm in Canada. And as you say, the beauty of it is the mix of colors.
It has reds, it has oranges, it has a little bit of black. Now I'm also going to take this mohair, this leech yarn, and figure 8 around those eyes, which will also give the fly a little bit more of a
a head, and it'll cover up the thread.
It'll cover up all of that thread on it.
Because it's basically a simple tie.
It just gives it a little bit more of a dressed appearance is all.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'll come in and build just a little head with this. Legs would also be optional on this fly.
I've never seen a leech with legs.
I haven't either. But it could be an option on it.
The famous walking leech.
Whatever. All right. Now I'll take my little tool here and see if I can pick that out some. I may have to go in with a bodkin and do it better because this binds down so tightly.
Now, I keep telling people about that tool because we're not sure that everybody has happened to see the show where we've done it before, but it's a tool that is made out of a popsicle stick And on both sides, he's glued
glued
little
Velcro.
strips of the hook portion of a hook and loop fastener.
But you can see how that's pulled it all out. It's really made it very long and very shaggy. You know, that fly has got to work in the water.
Oh, you will be amazed when that's wet at that tail.
Now, would you use that for, I'll put you on the spot again, would you use that for trout? Would you use it for bass?
Well, I often use it for smallmouth bass, but in a trout lake, the trout hit leeches just as well.
Sure they would.
And so, yeah, it could go either way, and you could tie it in a variety of sizes.
Now, will that chamois darken up a whole lot?
Quite a bit. And of course, the other thing too is those lead eyes are going to give it a movement.
It will make it right upside
and
down.
So if you twitch that thing, it's going to just swim.
Up and
that's
down.
going to be dynamite.
Yeah, that's
Dynamite.
quite a fly. Quite a fly.
You could use a strip of rabbit fur for the body to make it even shaggier. The secret of that is the weight forward with the lead eyes and that really soft, slimy tail.
And you know, I was thinking too, you might even though that tail's going to darken up in the water, you might even go in with a permanent marker.
Yep.
And maybe make it even a little darker.
Well, and you might want to tie a black pattern.
Sure could.
In which case, I'd just darken that whole thing and
Make
wouldn't
it
worry
all
about
black.
the spots.
That's right.
And use black rabbit for the body, rabbit strip. There's a lot of things you can do with it.
Now, I've gone in and just picked some more of that out with my bodkin, but you can see that it just has those little fibers just sticking out every which way to go along with
But
that
the tail, that's the secret.
Oh, absolutely,
that tail.
it is. Yeah. Well, there's a Shamo, the killer leech, has the tail made out of the leather chamois. The body is made out of Canadian brown leech yarn. The eyes are a dumbbell eye, painted black. You could even put red pupils in it if you wanted.
Could.
And then the thread was 6/0 fluorescent red thread.
Now, I don't know about the eyes. Of course, most leeches you don't see the eyes on.
But I think it's mostly just to get the fly down,
That's
right
the thing
upside
here,
down,
well,
make it
to get
twitch.
the action.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's going to do it.
Sure.
Those are going to be in my box come summertime.
I'd be anxious to talk to you, see if you've done any good with bass with them.
Oh, I will. There's no question.
That's interesting.
With smallmouth and largemouth too, you could tie it in big sizes.
Well, you could even do that in the river around here then.
Yeah.
You could use that in the
Oh,
river
yeah.
the same
For
as you would in the
smallmouth.
lake. Oh,
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. That's neat. That's a neat fly.
Yep. All right, the next fly we're going to do is going to be a stonefly nymph designed by the legendary George Harvey in Pennsylvania, and it's called simply enough the Harvey Stonefly Nymph.
All right. We will use black 8/0 tying thread. I have a gold fine wire that we'll use for the ribbing. The legs on this will be partridge. Some people may use grouse for it. The back is a mottled brown hen or feather. The tail will be a turkey tail, some turkey tail pheasant tail fibers, and the body will be the yellow wool yarn. You could also use gold.
He also uses a gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll dress the shank. I told you 6/0 thread. This is 8/0. It may not make a big difference to some, but
Well, we are always perfectly honest.
always honest. This is a 2X long hook. It's a size 8. I'll take a few sections of this pheasant tail, get them even as I can. And this is a little bit longer tail than on a lot of the patterns that I've seen. I cannot tell you why that is. But there's the pheasant tail. Now, I'm going to tie on. Oh, I've got one
Well, you
already
probably want
stripped
to
out
put the
here.
rib on first.
Oh
don't
yeah, I
you?
want the rib first. I'd have forgotten that again, Dave.
That's why I'm here. That's why you're paying
just
me the big bucks.
So good to me. Tying a piece of this gold wire for the ribbing. Just run that up the hook just a little ways. And then I'll tie in this
Really, any mottled brown feather.
anyone. And it has a good side, a dull side, a shiny side. I'm going to tie it backwards. I'm going to tie it by the tip, but it's going to be the dull side is up, so that when I fold it over, the dull side or the good side will then be down, as you can see as it wraps across.
And it's nice to tie it in by the tips, because then you've got the stem and everything comes together as a unit, and you don't have odd feathers fibers flaring out to the sides.
Now this is a 4-strand yellow yarn. I'm going to try to get 1 strand out. I'm afraid 4 might be too.
Well, the nice part about 1 is you can shape it any way you want and taper it if you want to, or twist it tighter or let it go loose. You've got a lot of flexibility with it.
I'm going to take 2 with this one.
And this, you know, should be tapered a little bit from the body to the forward part, like a regular Stonefly nymph would be. All
right, that's all bound in place.
Now, I do know that sometimes they tie this weighted and sometimes unweighted.
I was going to ask you if they do that.
And when they tie it weighted, they make sure that they get just a few wraps up near the front, maybe a third of the hook shank in front.
Of the wire, lead wire, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The non-lead wire or whatever, yeah. So it can be tied either way, and it would partly depend on the kinds of water, how deep it is, how fast it is.
Especially the speed of the water.
Yeah.
All right, now I've got the body tied in. Now I'm going to fold this back over. Now some of this, the material is going not to tie down. Now I'm just going to have to cut it off. This forms the back and the wing case all in one. Now I'll trim this off. And there's a few stragglers over here. Does make a good looking back.
Well, especially when you bind it down and put that over it.
Yeah, now the rib will come forward.
That gives it a segmented body appearance, and it
makes
binds
very
everything
durable.
together.
Yeah. And there's the rib. And then he takes the partridge or grouse, just pull a few feathers off.
We've had an interesting discussion about that, because people in the East that are talking about the ruffed grouse often call them partridge.
I'd never heard that.
And so out here in the West, when we're talking about partridge, we're talking about the gray Hungarian partridge. And if we want the other, we talk about the grouse. So it occurred to us the other day that we didn't really know whether he was talking about grouse as we know it or partridge as we know it.
Well, we hit a happy medium by taking some dark partridge.
Dark partridge, yeah.
All right, I've got the legs tied in on one side, and I do this in 2 clumps. Now you could also wrap that feather just like you would a regular hackle, and then trim it top and bottom, which would give the same appearance. I'll tie that on. I want it about the same length as the other one. I'll pull that through just a little. I'm going to get rid of those butts. Well, I better wrap that.
I wish I'd have thought of it. I was talking to Joe Humphrey on the phone the other day about this fly, but he was the one that was telling me about the pattern, and I wish I'd have thought to ask him that Hungarian partridge question.
Whether it's partridge or whether it's grouse.
Really grouse, yeah.
But you know, with those little legs out there just kicking along, it would
represent.
Isn't that a nice
pattern?
It would represent a lot of different things. Now I'll get a little head build on there. Fold that wing back out of the way just slightly. Now, rotate around. You can see what those legs look like coming out either side. Put a little head cement on them. I'd also head cement that back.
Oh, would you?
Yeah, I think so. Give it a little bit shinier appearance. You don't do that on yours.
Well, I haven't, but you certainly could. Why don't you do it and let's see what happens?
I will. We've experimented with everything else on this
Might
show.
as well.
We just will do that.
And it's going to darken up and richen the
color. A
color.
little bit, yeah. It definitely will make that color a lot richer.
Yeah.
Let me get this put away and I'll rotate that around.
Yeah.
There you can see how that
yeah.
really makes it shine.
Well, it really does.
Got the little legs sticking out. There's the different colored belly on it and the pheasant tail fibers. Well, there's a Harvey Stonefly nymph. Has the pheasant tail fibers for the tail, has the yellow wool body ribbed with gold wire, has the mottled brown hen for the back, and it has the partridge or the grouse, whichever you want to tie in, for the legs.
And you can optionally tie it with gold yarn.
Yes.
I like the gold version. It's a nice blend of
Yeah,
colors.
I think I would too, rather than that yellow.
Yeah, it makes a good blend of colors. All right, the next fly we're going to tie is the famed Teeny Nymph, named after its developer, Jim Teeny. It's a simple fly to tie except for one little tricky detail, but it uses a lot of complex materials. Why don't you tell us what they are?
A lot of All right, I'll use a tan 8/0 tying thread, and the only material in the fly is some pheasant tail fibers. But the one complex thing you're saying is getting the measurement right for the size fly you're using.
Now, Jim ties these in a million different colors, and he's got available purple and pink and green and chartreuse and red and any color pheasant tail you can imagine.
Now, I have a 2X long. It's a size 10, and again, he ties them in lots and lots of different sizes on here. I will dress the tying hook with the tying thread.
This is the only fly he will fish with. Whether he's fishing for salmon or steelhead, I suppose in salt water. He's got some great big long things with legs coming out all over.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And sometimes, of course, when you're tying on a really long hook, one hunk of feather isn't enough to finish the hook. Well, then you just tie in another bunch and keep going.
Now, what I've done is I've just stripped off some of those fibers. I'm trying to get them as even as I can, because this is, like you said, the tricky part. How do you know where to tie it in so that when you wrap this on, you're going to have the correct amount of length of...
See, those tips are going to form the legs.
Yes, to come back
after you wrap the whole thing around the hook. So
now, don't know. We'll just wrap it on and see what happens here. The only thing I'm going to do is hold them as tightly as I can in my hand and just wrap forward.
Now, if the legs are a little long, it's better than if they're too short.
Too short, that's correct. Now, if I were tying this for myself, I would rib the fly.
I think so.
With a
Make
fine
it much
copper
more durable.
wire.
Yeah.
Now, I've lost one of them there, but I'm going to go ahead and tie that down, what I have, and not worry.
Hey, you nailed it.
That might be a good one.
I think so.
Then I'm going to just grab all of these, fold them to the rear, and then you build the little head, and as you wrap backwards, you capture all those legs to keep them going out toward the bend of the hook. And as that fly goes through the water, it just swims and kicks and carries on.
That's perfect.
It is. That one came out very well.
Absolutely right. Now, you know, the first time I ran into these, I was invited to go fishing with Jim, whom I'd never met, with he and his dad and a couple of other guys up in British Columbia, and we were going to be up there fishing for pink salmon, among other things, and which I had never done, and there were salmon rolling all over the place, and I went upstream above them a ways, and every time I looked down, one of the three of them would have a fish on.
Oh, really?
And I couldn't catch one. No matter what I put on, I could not catch one. They were laughing and having a great time. And I went downstream to see what they were doing. Well, it turns out they were using a number 4 black Teeny Nymph.
Okay.
And they gave me some, and I started catching fish. And for the whole time, what are you using? Oh, I'm experimenting with the black number 4.
Oh, wow.
And I've since caught sockeye salmon on them, a variety of things. But as I say, that's all Jim fishes in a variety of sizes and colors, and he's an outstanding steelhead fisher.
Now, I've seen this fly tied where it will be on a longer shank hook. They will do the wrap just as we did here, but then come to the center of the longer hook, tie the legs off here so it's coming down. Another clump, run to the front. Now you have a basic double leg.
They can either do it that way, or they can just tie it in without
another
the legs.
Section,
it just depends
and run
on what
forward.
they're doing.
Just exactly
well, that's
what
a
you're
Teeny
looking
Nymph
for.
and extremely complex.
Extremely complex. Nothing more than pheasant tail fibers and tan tying thread.
All right, today we've got a bonus fly for you. We're going to put 4 in this series, and we're going to finish up with a Bettas Nymph.
Pretty simple little fly, nice looking. We'll use an olive 8/0. Again, I have the dyed hen grizzly, dyed olive, The body material will be a olive green dubbing, and the wing case will be black ostrich. I have a size 12, 2X long hook in the vise.
And that's a big Bettas.
Yeah.
I mean, Bettas, they'll run down to
22,
20, 22.
it said, yeah.
And most of them are pretty small, but here this will help it show up on the screen much better than tying a tiny one. But you will want to tie this fly in a variety of sizes.
Now what I did was I've just taken one feather off of that dyed olive hen saddle there, and that will become the tail. Cinch it down and come forward, make sure I get them all in. And now I'm going to take the dubbing. Too much. That's always the problem. When you haven't dubbed for a little while, you always grab too much dubbing and put it on the, try to get it on the thread. Yeah, this tied in smaller sizes would be a dynamite fly.
Oh, yeah.
Not sure that's enough, but we'll see what happens with it. Get my little dubbing loop tool here. Hook it in the middle, fold it over. Make sure you capture the whole thing. And come up to the front. Twist it slightly. And here it goes for the body. Trying to taper that slightly as I go forward. I don't think I'm going to have enough dubbing on this first time
It's going to hit pretty close.
Oh, it might. It might do all right. Okay. Now I'm going to take a small section of this olive hen again. We'll tie it in by the tip. We'll get that tied down. Take my hackle pliers, and just a wrap and a half maybe will do.
Yeah, you want just sparse legs.
Yeah. Well, I can't hang on to it. Just a couple of wraps, wrap and a half maybe. Cinch them down and clip it off. I'm going to fold that back just a little bit and get wrapped down over it. And now for the wing case, and I'd never seen this done before, but it'd be a good wing case.
That's just a free case.
Free case, yeah. It's nothing more than black ostrich. I've got 4 or 5 fibers here. Depending on what size or what caliber of ostrich you have, bind it down and then just clip it off. It's going to be fairly short.
Well, now, while you're finishing up that fly, why don't you tell us again the materials? Well, I can do that even. We had the tail and the legs out of the olive-dyed grizzly hackle cape. The body is black, olive dubbing. And black ostrich for the
wing case, free wing case. Yeah.
So, this time we've started out with Shamo the killer leech. We tied the Harvey Stonefly Nymph. We've tied the teeny nymph, and we've finished up with the Bettas nymph. So, we hope you've enjoyed the show, and we hope you'll join us next time. Thanks for watching.
Dave and Leroy have produced 2 100-minute videos covering basic trout fly selection and tying for the western and eastern United States. For basic western and eastern flies videos, call 1-800-883-0124 or visit our website at publictelevision.org. Cost of each video is $16.95 or get both for just $31.95 plus shipping and handling. You can also order the programs from this series. Each videotape includes 3 programs for just $22.95 plus shipping and handling. To order, call 1-800-883-0124 or visit us at our website publictelevision.org.
For more information on this series, please visit our website, publictelevision.org.